A federal immigration agent shot and killed a woman during a patrol in Minneapolis. And now protests are spreading across the U.S. What really happened? And why is this sparking so much outrage? Today we're breaking down the fatal shooting of a U.S. citizen by an ICE officer in Minneapolis, the conflicting accounts from officials and witnesses, and the growing protests in the city. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE, is a federal agency focused on immigration enforcement. This shooting happened during a larger federal operation in Minneapolis, where hundreds of ICE agents had been deployed as part of a surge in enforcement actions. Many Minneapolis residents and local officials have pushed back against ICE's presence, especially after years of tension following major incidents like the 2020 George Floyd killing. On January 7th, a 37-year-old woman named Renee Nicole Good was shot and killed by an ICE agent in South Minneapolis. Authorities say the agent fired 3 shots as her vehicle moved during the encounter. Federal officials initially said the agent acted in self-defense, claiming the woman's vehicle posed a threat. But eyewitness video and local leaders dispute parts of that narrative. Some video footage shared by witnesses shows Good's SUV starting to move while the agent was near it. Different versions of what exactly happened are still circulating, and officials are investigating. The FBI is currently leading the probe, and state investigators have expressed concern about their exclusion from key evidence. Federal officials, including Homeland Security leaders, have defended the agent's actions as justified under their training and fear for safety. But Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey and others have publicly rejected the federal interpretation, saying the footage they saw doesn't strongly support the self-defense story. Frey has even used blunt language to criticize the federal narrative. Additional commentary from public figures, including voices in sports and civic leaders, has amplified national attention, calling for accountability and questioning the use of force. This is not just one isolated incident. It comes amid a larger and controversial federal immigration enforcement push under the current administration. In Minneapolis, where memories of police violence are still strong, this shooting has ignited anger and debate about federal power, law enforcement training, and civil rights. The fact that local leaders and federal officials are telling different versions of the same event makes it hard for many residents to know what to believe, and that uncertainty fuels protests and distrust. Hundreds of protesters have taken to the streets in Minneapolis demanding justice and accountability. Marches have been largely peaceful, but tensions remain high. Some demonstrations have been planned in cities across the U.S., with activists calling for limits on ICE operations and greater transparency. Hundreds of protesters have taken to the streets in Minneapolis demanding justice and accountability. Marches have been largely peaceful, but tensions remain high. Some demonstrations have been planned in cities across the U.S., with activists calling for limits on ICE operations and greater transparency. Renee Good was remembered by her community as a mother, artist, and neighbor. Her death has hit close to home for many in Minneapolis, where people are still trying to heal from past tragedies involving law enforcement. Supporters of Good's family have held vigils and called for investigations into federal policing tactics. This event highlights a deep divide in how law enforcement actions are perceived, especially when federal agents are involved. As investigations continue and protests grow, many are asking, should these agencies be reformed or held accountable in different ways? What do you think? And how should communities respond going forward?